Once again, we're here disrespecting their program because these are the type of people they are. I walk in, you see how they treat you, just like you're still the threat. I would also want to specificate on the requests from the county that happened because, of course, we didn't go statewide. We didn't go. We went from this county in them hearings and those court proceedings that were wrong. So, from the county that did those things, I want you to see that they asked to seek um, to seek what is called relief, systematic relief, what they call systematic relief or programmatic relief that it contemplates, and I want to consider that more specifically. Okay, this is the lawsuit here, and down here under this, the proposal also contemplates programmatic relief for expungement of additional services and clients for Bucks County's public defenders, county public defenders. So the involvement of those things, public defenders, the expungement of records, you should say that these are the things that are involved that they need to find a systematic or for the program. They're still contemplating moving for the program and release for the program that did all these things, for that to come alive in a federal. I mean, it all comes down to what they are able to allege to be able to hide, and what they're able to allege on their own, what they can put in front of you, what they can make look real. It all comes down to in the moment for them. They make the movies. This is the cinema. And the fact of the matter is, they want it to be something it's not, even when it is in front of them. They try to take it to power. So understand that. And their proposals are to find relief for the program in expunging records and additional services and stuff like that. That things about truth about public defenders in this place that they know that it's willful. They can say what they want, but how do they find it? I also look, and this is all on page 3 of this. This you can look this up as well on the Tahoe versus Bucks County. You can just look up Bucks County lawsuits, and it'll come up if you look up Bucks County lawsuits with Bucks County or whatever however you want to word that. It'll all come up. It's pretty big. I mean, they're saying that the willful act of defendants, like the pretrial motions for defendants, depending on whether it would be willful or not, is what determines the amount of which really holds much more $1,000 per event or time it's alleged or proven to happen. But they also say that they expunge the records in this. So how would you ever know unless you talk to the defendant? He can get specific with you on circumstances. Even so many would know. But to just say we violated all these people and some of the people that we did to willfully, see, jury returned verdict finding defendants committed willful violations and awarded each class member $1,000 in punitive damages. So they're staying punitive. They're staying punitive this whole time, not substantial. These are all substantial violations. They're not just punitive. These are very substantial. And it's the federals. So like I said, federal lawsuit from the county. I mean, it didn't even go state first. It went right to federal. There's other courtrooms that could have went in, but it's that serious. I know some people say, well, that's the Bureau of Investigation, but understand that it was that serious. We're also talking about what's known as social injustices here. That means, like I said, when the courtroom was found to be moving against your better judgment or best interests in in the group of the group, finding that being to be the wholesale consideration. So, like I said, Tahoe versus Bucks County. That's the suit we're in. We're talking about right here, Tahoe versus Bucks County. This has happened before in Bucks County, so it's not the first time. But so to speak, this is the form of lawsuit that it's proclaimed to be in. But it speaks of two different tiers of this lawsuit within this before me, and that's one of the big areas I wanted to touch on. That they're saying there's two different tiers of willful nature, while they're saying they're trying to get rid of all the records in addition and evidence that would go to. You should say it for everybody. It's not like so. First, that would need to be looked through. Anybody making that claim at least have to put his records forward and know that it wasn't willful. They can't be, determining whether they did certain people better too, as well as saying it's a lawsuit. So it doesn't really find any interest for the real defendants in this case, the ones that are defending their lives. Us. The lawyers got paid $4 million. Okay, lawyers got paid $4 million to do these lawsuits. The class counsel that worked for the case, deliberating over these things over the head, they're saying that would decide who got. I guess in the member, the class counsel got $4 million. What did the defendants get? What did the victims of the circumstance get? 600. How does anyone get worth that much without the defendants involved get that substantial claim? The system got more. How backwards is that we could say that's justified? So I'm just here to say that disrespecting this program is the only way to do it. This is Bucks County in Pennsylvania. Top of it. Top of it all. This is what they do for a living. Steal people's kids. They do it all. Do it all in stride. And I do believe that there's more overcoat to what's going on here. They do surround you with liars and whatnot, try to tell you they're friends and try to make it more, and they try to make their arguments in that, like the fall away, what basically you didn't do on time. Like, for instance, they're saying, oh, in this lawsuit, you didn't do this on time. But all these cases and these arguments were taken out of time. And so they're basing their arguments within the alleged legalities that they're not even in the format or the forum of this lawsuit. They take it in the courtroom, they talk about something entirely different in front of cameras because they control those cameras. That's why they straighten up when they're in front of your cameras, telling their other cops, don't talk about the specifics of which he argues. Anything that falls in the guidelines, he said things about that before. We already caught him in that. Like I caught that guy giving me pieces of the application for the custody, for child custody, several times. This isn't the first time, and that's why I added that up. Where it may seem like it's innocent, like an innocent mistake could happen. That's how they play in it. Innocent mistakes, like a system could make something called an innocent. There's consistent overhead in something this big. Phone calls being recorded. Are you serious? Like when he says, "Oh, I didn't know the phone calls were being recorded." Of course, the phone calls are being recorded in a courthouse. In the courthouse, the things that they're saying doesn't even add up to things we wouldn't even consider. The phone calls are being recorded everywhere you go, but let alone, of course, on the phone, if you call the courthouse, it tells you you're being recorded. When you call the courthouse, I was being told on the phone electronically. Phones are recorded, calls are recorded for, quality assurance. For that reason specifically, for obvious reasons to say that. You call a freaking franchise that does that nowadays, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you kidding me? We're in a courthouse, you know what I mean? Like, so they become obvious when they go so far left. It becomes a problem to hold together. But so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up cutting this one and starting a new one from where I'm at because it's a new day and I'm in the courthouse. I just want to make clear what's going on here. That this is a consideration of a Bucks County Tahavi versus Bucks County lawsuit in a criminal federal courtroom where they were found to be moving in targeting natures of malicious natures towards defendants they were claiming were defendants in criminal cases where they're obviously making their name out to be something that's not, deframing your character, all sorts of things. Where they kept doing it with me, and they didn't stop. They just past tense with me, which can be found today and part of the argument I've been making previously. In fact, they turned it up since the lawsuit, exactly on the dates of the lawsuit, taking my kids from me, and moving forward with that motion illegally after being in this lawsuit of a federal nature where they had lied and been caught doing so, and targeting and also embellishing what do you call a nature of a person to obviously use against them in the future. That's what I'm arguing. Like, this is obviously further moored by what it's intended to do. So what I'm saying is when they're looking at this lawsuit, they're only looking at a window frame of what's actually taking place. But it's just before the action. I don't believe that's what the lawsuit we're in. This is a different lawsuit. It's way different than this. It should be talking about the systematic, functions of malicious natures altogether, not just an action of the a sort. Like, oh, well, we did something and messed their record up. Obviously, you did that. You do that. This isn't the first time this lawsuit's come. what happened because of that? What are the real? You talking about punitive damages? Did I miss something? So that's where I'm at. Like, there's more to this. This is huge. This is talking about a previous nature to the effect where it wouldn't even mean nothing. Like, it's like, oh, I heard this is part. He talked about punching somebody in the face. It's like, if you brought it down to a more human level, it would be more like this. Okay, we got a case on Timmy and Johnny. Timmy and Johnny were fighting. We figured out what happened. Timmy punched Johnny in the face, right? Okay, so Timmy punched Johnny in the face. But before we find out that we got a lawsuit because this happened. But the lawsuit's not about Timmy getting punched in the face. It's that he talked to a guy about punching him in the face before he did it. And that's what the lawsuit's based off of. That's what they're doing right now. That he had a conversation. He didn't do the act, that there was a conversation about the act. That's what this is, a systematic conversation about discriminating people and actually violating their rights. They barely discuss the fact that they actually went into detail on description. Like, they changed my hairstyle to fit a description to put me in jail. Like, they drew braids. And, like, that would be practical. Like, are you kidding me? You drew braids in my hair to match a description of an alleged defendant. Like, I just don't know how they get off, how they how they where they coming from on anything. This is the previous action to violating somebody's rights. This was the stuff they used against me to gain other cases. Doing this was what they first started doing. Okay, this was the first. Making our records bad was what. But what would that matter if we were bad people? There are a lot of bad records. Why are we only in this lawsuit if it's okay to make our records bad? So how they're even delivering it? They're delivering it to us in a way that is cockeyed. Like, oh yeah, we kind of something happened with your record. It's inspecific in a sense to say it should be front line on this. Like, we should. Obviously, I know, but it should be front line on this. It should be front line on this. This is something they can't avoid to any extent, and they had to look it in the face, and it's scary to them. A lot of people don't know. So my question is, where are the other guys? My answer to that is, maybe they were murdered. Maybe they were poured under the prisons of these jails in here. Maybe that these people killed those people, and that's why they're not here. They didn't last. Now, I do believe that it has a lot to do with that, but I also say this, that at some point I have to consider the fact that they could just have me all together in a different lawsuit and took them somewhere else. Maybe took them serious, but in order to say that, I have to argue this. Why give me any sort of lawsuit to look at knowing I was going to do this? This is who I've been. I sorted my own lawsuit out. I figured this out on my own. I was fighting my own cases and winning them. Unless they're going to say, why would they let me win cases? Why would they do any of it? It doesn't make any sense to me for them to turn around and say, oh, it doesn't exist. What does exist? Unless they had to be backwards so much they had to admit to it not existing or existing before they said it didn't. I don't know. But anyway, that's just weird to me. To me, that's very weird. So I have to lean into considerations of the fact that they're arguing the punitive argument and then calling it punitive damages. They're arguing a punitive argument, saying, oh, it was the month before he was, So that's all I'm saying. It's a punitive argument. Of course, they're going to allege punitive damages. Much more went on than this. So let me reset and come back.